Hi everybody. Tuesday. That means it's video time. Get ready for this week's video. Well, do you remember the song Just As I Am? Just goes, just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me. Um, I'm sure you've all heard it, and some of you may have even heard it recently. It's a favorite song to use when you're having an altar call to get people to come forward and accept Jesus as their Savior. And it's a nice song. Um, but the problem is that it's a very hypocritical use of the song, because in that moment when you're hearing just as I am without one plea and you go forward to accept Jesus, in that moment you're being told that Jesus accepts you just the way you are. But the day after that, even a few minutes after that, then there are things you've got to do to continue to be accepted by Jesus. They'll tell you right away that you've got to get in fellowship, make sure you come into church, you need to get discipled, you need to learn. And then, of course, there's the do's and don'ts. If you're smoking, you better stop. Can't do that anymore. It's unacceptable. Stop your cussing. That's not acceptable. Stop living with your girlfriend because you're not married. That's not acceptable. Stop drinking your beer. That's not acceptable. Stop dancing. That's not acceptable. And stop wearing makeup. It all depends on which version of legalism you're getting involved in. But that is actually the Christian idea of what the gospel does for you. And really all it does is it puts you into bondage. It gets you involved with a group of people who believe the only way you're acceptable is according to proper actions and deeds. It has nothing to do with that original message they told you about the grace of God and what he did at the cross. Jesus, they leave the cross behind. They use it to hook you, and then they leave it behind because it didn't really do anything for you. Now you have to comply. It's a compulsory obligation on your part to do and be and act the way they expect you to do and be and act to be acceptable to God. And they will tell you if you are acting in a way that's not acceptable to them, then God no longer accepts you either. And it's a sin. It is the most opposite to the gospel, that gospel truth ever. The gospel does not impose and compel you to perform in a certain way. The gospel is a message of freedom, that there is no law, no rule system that you have to comply with, because God already approves of you no matter what. You are already accepted by God no matter what. They expect you to change in so many ways and then conform to their idea of what a model Christian is. And the gospel is an announcement of freedom so that you can be just who you are. The gospel is freedom. It is not a compulsion, and it is an announcement that God accepts you just as you are. You do not have to change one thing about you. It's revolutionary, I know. Have a revolutionary week.